See it?
Oh, here we go. I like this one. Let's roll. All right, David. When
All
you're
right,
ready.
you ready to roll?
Whenever you're ready, this rock is on you.
All right. First of all, thank you, Cornelius, for inviting me and for creating this platform. This is really awesome. Next thing, I want to welcome all the sharks, all the investors, and all of you who are here looking for a soulmate. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David Peters, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about investing for impact. All right, a little bit of housekeeping to start off. This is a presentation for information only. It's not an offer to sell security. Offers to sell securities are made by PPM, subscription agreements, and LLC operating agreements. So with that said, let's go. Is there a rental housing affordability crisis in the US? I present the following information. First, half of all rental households now in the US are paying more than 30% of their income to rent and are considered rent burdened. 10 million of them are paying over 50%. And low rent units are disappearing at an alarming rate. In some areas, 40 and 50% have been lost in the last 10 years. So is there? I say yes, Houston, we have a problem. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to build new affordable units? I don't think so, not without big subsidies. Are we going to keep existing affordable units? When was the last time you saw a value reduce apartment deal? I mean, really? Are we going to bring back boarding houses of the early 1900s? Maybe, but how many people want to share a bathroom with 3 strangers? So I say those are not probably good solutions. But what if we could purchase a property, do a value add on it, make it nice, include desirable amenities, provide individual private units, and keep it affordable without government subsidies? Impossible? Nope, it's hotel conversions, people, hotel conversions. Okay, so what is the impact of hotel conversion investing? Well, at a minimum, it's a win-win-win. It's a win for the community, it's a win for the investors, and it's a huge win for the residents. So let's dig in. I'm here tonight to talk to you about our latest hotel conversion project. This is an amazing hotel to active adult apartment conversion located in Overland Park, Kansas. This is not assisted living. It's apartments for active adults 55 and over. And while it's not strictly age limited, it is geared toward and marketed toward the active adult segment. So why would we want to do that? Well, first of all, active adults are the fastest growing population segment in the US and in the Kansas City MSA. Some other facts about 55 plus housing. The tenants tend to be sticky. They don't really want to move. A large proportion of them are 1 to 2 person households. There's massive growth in this sector due to the baby boomers. And many are now or will have affordability issues, both from the income issue side and from the expense side. So real estate is all about location, location, location. Let's take a look at this location. Overland Park, Kansas is located in the Midwest region, the region known for steady growth and a diverse, resilient economy. Kansas in particular was recently ranked #1 as a pro-business location. Kansas City itself, over 2 million people, nice steady population growth, about 9% over the last decade. 6 Fortune 500 companies, a diverse economy, and lots of attractions, including museums, pro sports teams, jazz clubs, and even over 200 fountains in the city. But what really makes sense for us in the Kansas City metro area is that the older adult population is expected to double between 2007 and 2030. So that brings us a huge opportunity. Here's a list of some projects that are going on in Kansas City. There's lots of large commercial projects right now, lots of growth going on, but there's not an overabundance of new housing being built. Here's a few more stats about the Kansas City MSA. Strong job growth, low unemployment and going lower, apartment vacancies low and going lower. The new supply, very modest compared to the demand, and rent growth solid but not frothy. So what does that mean? A strong economy and a very tight apartment market. Overland Park is a southwest suburb of Kansas City. Our property is located just off of I-435 in a very visible high traffic corridor. Overland Park is not just a residential suburb, but actually an employment center as well. There's over 106,000 jobs within the city limits, and a number of large corporations are residing there. So that's where our property is, right there. Let's take a quick look at Overland Park. Overland Park is the largest suburb of Kansas City. Look at that median household income, very strong. It's only 20 minutes to downtown, A+ schools, crime 35% below the US average. And virtually the whole suburb is class A- B+ neighborhoods. So what does that mean? It means we're in a highly desirable, safe suburban location. Moving on to the property itself. There's the big news. It's already zoned for multifamily. So we're buying a hotel that's ready to go day one. The hotel has 143 rooms. They range in size from 360 to 716 square feet. And what's really important about this is that they're significantly larger than standard 300 square foot hotel rooms that many operators are trying to convert. By having the larger size rooms, we can actually convert one for one and end up with 143 units that are comfortable and livable. The other big thing to know is that the current seller in 2019 put $2 million into recent renovations and renovated many of the common areas and many of the rooms. You can see the picture there of the old front desk versus the current modernized front desk. Here's an example of the lobby. Look at that difference from 1990 to 2020. It's beautiful. Conversion of a room here. The updated rooms have new flooring. They have accent walls. They have window treatments. They really, a nice color scheme. They really look nice. Here's a bathroom conversion. Again, updated flooring, updated colors, updated vanity. And what I really like is actually that very sleek backlit mirror. So here's an original kitchenette versus the ones that are now in there. Now the ones that are in there are actually mini kitchenettes, and we're going to be upgrading our kitchenettes further, but this provides us with a very nice, modern, sleek starting point. It is going to save us money in the process of doing the updates. So here's a conceptual view of a studio room. Basically what we're going to be doing on those kitchenettes is we're going to convert them up from mini kitchenettes to what I would call full kitchenettes by adding full-size apartment refrigerators, induction cooktops, and then mounting the microwaves on the wall to make those mini kitchenettes much more functional for people who are actually going to be living in these units. So let's take a quick look at the numbers. The most recent appraisal on the property after the 2019 renovation was $12 million. We're under contract at $7.66 million, which should provide us some nice built-in equity day one. What do the summary numbers look like? Again, 143 units, 7.66 million acquisition, 4.6 million capital improvements, total project cost 13.2 million. We've got a lender who's going to do 75% loan to cost, which means we need to bring in 4 million in equity. So what are the capital improvements going to cover? Well, virtually, we're going to try to bring this up to a nearly new A- class complex. We're going to try to add an apartment feel by doing some work on the exterior and the parking lot to make it seem more like an apartment. We're going to add top-notch amenities, including a community room, a fitness room, a barbecue grill, outdoor patio, a dog park, and even a sport court with pickleball. We're going to do some efficiency upgrades as well that involve reducing water usage, reducing electricity usage, potentially solar electricity, and some upgrades to lighting and HVAC. And we're going to throw in a few modern high-tech features that are really nice, like Wi-Fi enabled Bluetooth door locks and a high-tech security system, in addition to those kitchenette upgrades. So here's our detailed budget numbers. What I want to let you know, though, is that I feel very confident about these budgets because we recently completed a very similar project using our same team, and the team executed then, and I'm very confident they'll execute again on this. So some rent comps. Right now in the area, small Class B, one-bedroom units are renting for about $1,274 a month. And actual senior studio apartments, which are the 300 square foot style units, are actually starting at $2,204 a month. However, those units do include meals, so it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison, but those units actually have more like the mini kitchenettes. So they're really not fully functional kitchens. They're almost more like a hotel room. So if you take a look at our rent scale, you'll see that we're very competitive with that 1274 unit. However, it gets a lot better. If you take a side-by-side comparison with the market unit, look at what we have versus them. We include the electric, we include the heat, we include the water, sewer, garbage, fiber internet, dish network with premium channels and sports and all those amenities. There's almost no one on the market that comes close to competing with us at that price point. So what does that mean? Well, if you kind of attach a value on all those things, what it basically means is we're coming in about $200 per month, or about 15% below the current market. Huge competitive advantage day one. So what about lease up? Here's our basic lease up plan. I call it our 12-12-12 plus 4 plan. Basically, we start 12 units, we complete 12 units, and we lease 12 units, obviously offset by each month. And the 4 comes in that we add 4 months to the end of the start period, just to make sure that we've given ourselves enough time to actually reach stabilization based on our financial projections. So what do these financial projections look like? Here you have the end of year 2, based on 90% occupancy, which is actually low for our typical properties. At that point, we're in an interest-only loan, and our cash-on-cash return looks to be about 14.5%, with our debt service coverage ratio at about 2.25%. So if we come out to year 5, now we're in the fully amortized portion of the loan. We're at 17% cash on cash, and our debt service coverage ratio still sits at about 2. So total project cost of $13.2 million. Our stabilized value by our projections after 30 months, $20.6 million. And that $20.6 million valuation is based on an apartment 6 cap. So here's where it gets interesting. What do we have to offer our investors? We are offering a 7% preferred return, followed by a 70-30 split. That split does have one hurdle, but the hurdle doesn't kick in till 28% annual return. We're projecting an IRR between 20 and 28%, and most of that has to do with our exit cap rate. 20% is an exit cap rate, a little over 7. 28% is about mid-5, about 5.5%. Same thing with our equity multiple, 2.2 to 3. We are expecting a 5-year hold. That's what we're telling our investors up front. However, if there is an opportunity to refinance, the market makes sense, or if we get an offer that we can't refuse for an early exit, we would consider it. We have a $50,000 minimum, and I don't have the notes on this slide, but we are also accepting 1031 exchanges, and of course, 401k and IRA self-directed are always welcome. Let's take a quick look at the capital stack behind that. It's a very simple capital stack, basically 75% loan to cost debt, followed by the limited partners and the general partners, and ownership is split 70-30, just like the profit split. So our debt structure, we're working with a local bank to get this done. They're quoting about a 5% fixed rate, 75% loan to cost, 5-year term with a second option, although the bank gets one opportunity to reprice after the end of 5 years. It's 2 years interest only, and then a 25-year AM on years 3 through 5. So our fee structure, very simple and straightforward. A 2% acquisition fee, a 1.5% asset management fee, a 5% construction management fee on completed construction, and a refinance disposition fee of 1%. So who is the team? The team primarily consists of myself and my partner, Ron Halliday. This is our 4th hotel conversion project. We've been specializing in this space since 2019, which is actually pre-COVID. I've got 15 years of previous real estate experience, including coming from the multifamily syndication space. I'm a licensed general contractor and a degreed electrical engineer, and I do mentor other sponsors. My partner, Ron, is an expert in due diligence and project management. He's got almost 20 years as a licensed Six Sigma process improvement expert, and he knows how to get things done. We have an in-house traveling construction team that we've used on multiple previous projects, and we feel that that team has executed well in the past and will execute again. And we also have 2 other in-house dedicated members. Jake McGlade, who has an extensive background in the design and operation of senior living, and Stefan Schwartz, who's been my assistant for the last 8 years and has been with us for all 4 of the hotel conversion projects. So I'd love to talk to you about all of our previous projects, but unfortunately I probably don't have time. So let's just take one real quick. Town Square Place in Chaska, Minnesota. It's an 82-room property. We acquired on March 13th of 2020. Now, if you may remember, that was about 5 days before the lockdown and hotels got blown to pieces. Well, this property was operating at a 25% occupancy and bleeding cash before COVID. We had a $4.3 million total investment in that property. Today, 93% occupancy, 500K NOI, 20+% cash on cash returns, and our recent refinance appraisal came in at 7.12 million, a 66% valuation increase in 26 months. So what does the property look like today? Not tumbleweeds anymore. Here's a couple photos. So you can get more information actually on this property and on this project, as we were featured in a CNBC story called "Want to Own an Apartment Building? Buy a Distressed Hotel for Pennies on the Dollar." There's the link, but you can also Google it should come up right away. So what's our timeline here? We originally announced the offering to some people starting May 1st. We're looking for documents May 9th. We're trying to get our funding together by May 22nd, and we have a tentative closing date of May 31st, but we realize that the Memorial holiday weekend is in there, and we do have a seller who has options for us to get us into June if we need to do that. So who are our investor partners, really briefly? Well, of course, there's myself. The seller has actually said he wants to come in, and that isn't a secondary. It's not seller financing, that's equity. So he's right there with the rest of us. The seller's broker is talking about being interested. I have a couple fund managers and family offices who are seriously looking at the deal and very interested. And also our sharks, Jillian Sidoti and Charlie Dobbins, are going to be joining us on this one. So who's left? Hopefully you. So why would we want to invest in this opportunity? Because it's the right asset class. Now is the right time. It's the right location, and we have the right team to execute this project. So join us. Let's make an impact on the community, on the staff, and especially on the residents, but also your financial future. So if you can commit by May 15th, I even have a bonus. Anyone who can commit by then will receive a free 6-quart air fryer, my favorite brand. Nah, wait a minute, maybe not. Let's not do that. Let's do something else instead. How about if we get you on our advanced notification list for our next project? It's really looking good too. This is a project in a market that's undiscovered. Only the locals know that this market is absolutely on fire. So you can get to us for your commitments at www.firstfloorequity.com, current offerings, or you can go through the Apartment Shark pool. Again, I'm David Peters, and thank you so much for your time.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. Great job. Trevor, I want the air fryer. I said, who want the air fryer? Anybody want the air fryer?
Want to do a survey on that?
We all want air fryer. Everybody want an air fryer. Now, my question before I go to the Shark panel, my question to you, audience, the Shark Pool community, I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate that deal? You see a poll up up. 1, 3, 5, 7, or 10 is a home run. How do you rate that deal from your standpoint? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Share results. Now, you got any questions about the deal? Feel free to put your questions in the chat so you can ask. Okay. So we got to answer these results there. All right. Let's stop sharing. Now, my question to you. I got 2 more questions for you. If you could, how much money would you invest in this deal? If you could. How much money? If you could invest in this deal, how much money would you invest? If you could. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's end polls. All right, and share results. So we got some good feelings now. Okay. Now, my question to you now is a little more serious. Now, would you like to invest in this deal? I'd like to know. If you'd like to, we'll talk later on. Just for me and you and Jesus. You like to invest in this deal? Yes, no, maybe so. I would like to know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's end polls. Thank you. Now let's go to our Sharks panel. Trevor, you ready, my man?
I'm ready.
All right, let's roll.
First of all, David, you made such a great thing. It's going to be really hard to pick it apart. I'm sitting here looking for bad stuff. So excellent presentation and like with a good mix of humor and information and everything. I know the area well because I used to work for iFly Indoor Skydiving and I opened the location right around the corner, pretty much from where you're at. It is definitely a great part of the city. And I was going to ask a question, but I'm assuming since you've already done 4 of these, you've figured out the differences of electric needs for hotels versus permanent living, because there's a lot of fire suppression, electricity.
We have, yes.
And
please explain that more.
Yeah, because you went through the CapEx pretty quick. Like the first slide, I blinked and I missed it. But that one I know is a lot of people that didn't research the space got killed on that when they bought a hotel and tried to convert it.
Yeah, we have some pretty sizable budget numbers. I mean, I can share my screen again and go back there if you want me to try to jump back, but we have pretty sizable budgets for infrastructure, plumbing, electrical, safety infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they normally don't convert
as
well. You don't have to keep daytime people as safe, I guess, as long time. I'm not quite sure why, but it definitely is a whole different. But obviously, you've done it a few times, so that. And the only other question I really have, and I would want more information, is just a little bit deeper dig dive into the rent comps. Because it was just to say, what in the area for those square footages and that type of, because obviously a 300 and something square feet is a unique size apartment. And I would just like to know a little bit more about the rent comps for that area. And the other question was, you said it's 55, but then you said it's not 55. So is it or isn't it, or is it just?
It is targeted and marketed to the 55 plus age group, but it is not strictly restricted. In other words, if someone came in and they were 34 and they, what we are doing is we're restricting occupancy levels. Okay, so we're limiting it to 2 people per room because of the size of the units. Okay. So if someone came in, a single individual, and they were 34 and they were looking for workforce housing, we would certainly accept them there. But all of our marketing and all of our targeting stuff is going to be to that 55 and over crowd. And another point that I didn't even mention in this is that there is a very significant assisted living facility right next door to us that goes from independent apartments through nursing care home. And when people walk in there and find out it's $2,600 a month for a 300 square foot unit, and they're getting meals, I think we can get some people there.
Yeah, definitely. And then I just had a quick question. So is it currently unoccupied as a hotel? In other words, you're going to buy it empty, or are you planning?
No, it is
roll
currently
out?
operating as a hotel. And as we have done with our other projects, we go through a transition process. We start from the back of the house and work forward. So we'll take a section of the property and, basically shut it off for hotel occupancy. And right now, the hotel actually did very well before COVID, but hasn't fully recovered since COVID. So he's only operating about 65, 70 rooms of the property right now. And we'll start
Okay.
out continuing to operate that to, take advantage of that cash flow during the transition. Because ideally, we'd like to stay, pretty close to cash flow even as far as operating expenses during the transition if we can. I
Okay.
mean, we do have
Yeah,
$550,000 of reserves, working capital there, as, reserves just in case. But our goal is really going to be to operate, near break even and then transition out. And even when we finish, one of the other things that we're considering doing is because we're going to have the capability to basically do autonomous check-in, we're going to keep the capability, we're going to have those keys, the Bluetooth Wi-Fi door locks, which we can send a code to somebody's cell phone and they can check in. So we're looking to do possibly some Airbnb units there as well.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea. I actually have a friend here in Austin. She runs the first floor as a hotel, the second floor is weekly, and the third floor is monthlies. Now on her monthlies, because she didn't bring it up to code, she has to turn them every 28 days. So if you would live there for a year, you'd have to move 12 times. So it's a little inconvenient, but it is what it is. And so that's why so that answered my question, why you're slow playing build up, because you're going to run a cash. Otherwise, why not just go in there and blow it floor at a time with a bigger crew and move on?
Yeah, I think the crew we have is very experienced and they know exactly what we want to do. They execute very well. And I think the way we have it set up, we can take that luxury, I guess.
Yeah. And then the only other thing is, I know you're putting in 100K. Looks like your partner's a cheapskate. No, I'm only kidding. But I usually like to see like the GPs put about 10% of the raise in and
Right.
really light on that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, among the GP group, we will definitely have over 10% in.
Okay. And unfortunately, I don't have anything more to challenge you on. It was an awesome report. Thank you.
Outstanding. So overall, you think it's a great deal?
Yeah, it's a great deal.
Out there. Charlie, what's on you?
Yeah, David, yeah, this is great. I love the presentation. It's very, I mean, it's everything that you need to make a pretty informed decision straight, going forward. And this, I've got to say, this asset class that you've chosen, I'm a big advocate of. My company is involved in 3 or 4 of these hotel conversions already. So we completely love the strategy that you're going for on this. I do have a couple of questions just for clarity. So the 55 and over, are they all going to be on single leases or yearly leases, or are they long-term commitments?
They will be standard yearly leases is our plan.
Right, cool. And you've answered the no age limit. And the other 3 or 4 conversions that you've done, have they been all into multifamily, or have they, as in traditional multifamily, or were they into other, 55 plus or other types of facilities outside of the traditional multifamily segment?
2 were traditional multifamily, and the third was actually extended stay blended, kind of like what Trevor Thompson was just talking about with his friend.
Right. And the 2019 appraisal, I'm guessing that appraisal was done based on it operating as a hotel. Is that correct?
That is correct. So it's not apples to apples. I wouldn't say that we have, 5 million of equity day one, but I think we do have some equity there. It's a very well-maintained property. The owner has taken very good care of it, and that's part of the reason I think why he's very excited about joining us in the investment.
Yeah, I love the fact that you've got those kind of people involved in the investment. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like Trevor said, there's not really much else to ask. So great job. We look forward to partnering with you on this one.
Thank
Well,
you. I
David-
look forward to it too.
Outstanding. David, I do have some questions in the chat. I wanted to address those. I think you see them, Martin. Martin, you want to ask yourself? You may read it to you.
Okay. Cornelius?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, so my question to David was, he's financing this at a 5% mortgage, but that was before the half point raise today. So is that a fixed 5% or may change because of the increase in the rates today?
It is a fixed 5%. That's what the bank is telling us that they're going to be committing to. It's fixed 5% for 5 years. In fact, the Chaska property, we're signing papers tomorrow on a new loan on that property. And that one we got, because it's stabilized, we got 3.9% fixed for 5 years.
Wow.
But sir,
So,
go ahead.
sorry, if I can just quickly ask then, David, that raises a question to me. If you bank debt, are you recourse on this debt or not?
I am recourse on this debt, yes.
Okay,
Because when you work with local banks, I mean, you basically,
you got to.
right.
Yeah,
But I'm willing to do that because I'm very confident in the project and in
Yeah.
the property.
no, absolutely. I think that's a big, it's a big green flag, not a red flag.
Outstanding. Real quick, he has a question. Go over the amenities. I think it's in the slideshow as well. When's the pickleball tournament is going to happen? The pickleball tournaments.
We'll be talking 2023 on that.
Outstanding.
Actually, we have to, there's a pool there now, but the pool liner is cracked.
Mhm.
And it just made, my experience with pools has been that, a certain segment likes pools. A lot of segment doesn't really care that much.
Huh.
They're very expensive to maintain. I mean, it's going to cost us probably 75% of the cost of fixing the pool to put in the sport court and the pickleball, but the long-term maintenance is going to be way lower. And I just think that that's a better use of the space.
Gotcha. I got a couple. Let me see here. It says to qualify for cost segregation and bonus depreciation from Benjamin. If you want to ask yourself, or you ask yourself, Benjamin, read it to you. Or it says, so how does that work with hotel conversions?
It works the same in basically all commercial assets. We at the beginning, we'll set up a price. I mean, we have our price, but we'll divide our price into two pieces. Part of it will be the FFE and part of it will be the actual physical property. And then when we come in and do the work, there's a lot of things we can write off, but it will be a 2-year cost segregation. There will be a chunk in the first year and a chunk in the second year because we won't be completely done with the renovations in the first year.
Good, Benjamin? I'll say, CB, you there, CB? Hold on, let's see. Try it now, CB. CB, you there? Hold on. You cannot unmute, not CB. Try it now, CB.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey, CB in the house, but we don't see you. Only thing we see is some rocks, and we see
I don't like my hair. Have a bad hair day.
Outstanding. What's your question, Ms. CB?
So I was just, I'm wondering because I have a few hotels too. So how do you convert it while you're in operation in hotel? What's the transition that you go through to do that?
Well, basically, you really have to segregate off certain areas of the hotel. I mean, you wouldn't want to do this willy-nilly. And our experience has been we've started from the units furthest away from the quote-unquote front desk, I guess, and worked our way forward. but once you get to a certain point, like let's say you've got 70% of the units converted, at that point, you're just going to say, okay, we need to close the hotel portion because, it gets to a point where it just doesn't make sense to operate it anymore. And, I mean, I won't say that it's been
so
a
you are
perfect,
operating as a hotel while you're converting some of the units at the back. Is that what you mean?
yes, we do that, and it's not trivial. That's why we actually are the asset manager and the property manager through the transition, because I mean, there's hotel operators and there's multifamily operators, and there's very few that's kind of sitting in the middle of that. We are working with one company now, a management company, training them on, this whole process, but we as a team do that. I mean, the key is you have to bring in a very strong general manager who's on site every day to run this stuff. He has to be able to understand both the apartment side and the hotel side. And then, of course, we start our advertising, our marketing day one on closing. We're going to start marketing for these units. So we're going to be hopefully having, pre-leasing before these units are even done. So basically, when a pack of units gets finished, there's people who are interested in moving into them right away.
Very interesting. Yeah, I enjoy your presentation very much. Very, very well done.
And
Yeah.
if you want to reach out to me directly to talk very specifically about your situations, I'm happy to do it.